Brittany, I think you're muted.
Got you. Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay. My name is Brittany Norman. I am the communications manager with Rage. I manage social media, newsletter, etc. I'm very excited that everyone's here and looking forward to this incredibly productive village meeting. Welcome, everyone.
Well, and then I don't see, is Samaya online? Yep, I see Samaya, and I don't know. I think Amadi is traveling, so I'll do it. If he's on, then Samaya, and then we'll go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Samaya Butler. I'm the membership liaison. I'm excited to see everybody and to update everybody.
Well, I don't see Amadi. Are you? Let me just make sure. And then because it's going to be so many folks joining in, if you want folks to know who you are or want to put out your information in the chat, please feel free. If you're just here as a resident, if you're here as someone for work, if you're here for your church, whatever the case may be, because even though we're not in person right now and we know we're on Zoom, we still want people to be able to connect, and the chat is really important for us to capture people's information. We could share it, we can link them, link folks to resources. So that's very, very important. And so if no one started, please start your name and whatever you would like to give, if that's an email, what you're repping, just to make sure that folks know who is in the chat and just in the village meeting. And then, of course, we have to start with a poll. We would like to know a couple of questions before we get started. And we're going to launch the poll now and just take a second, not too long, maybe about 30 seconds to answer the poll. We always like to know if this is someone's first time ever coming to a Rage meeting. Most likely we have a mixture of both. And then we always want to know, like, who's showing up. Is it folks who live in the community, work in the community, used to live here, maybe have no connection to the community, and this is why they're here today. So take your time, do the poll real quick, and we will try to get through this agenda and a lot of our guest speakers in a timely manner. So I know we got you doing a couple of things, putting your info if you want folks to be able to contact you in the chat, and then also doing this poll really quick. So you got a couple of things to do. This is an engaging meeting. It chose to be interactive. So make sure you answer. Let's see, got a few more coming in. I got about 74 participation here. And then we always like to share actually what folks have said. Some folks are not sure. Okay. We will end the poll. Thank you for participating. Let's see who is in the room. So we have almost a 50-50 split on the first timers, which is always good. That works. And then also how folks are connected to Englewood. Shout out to the 43% of the folks who currently live in the community. Shout out to folks who live here, used to live here. And then a shout out to our not connected, but that's why they're here, because we are all about connect, build, and take action with Rage. So for folks who do not know Rage and what we do and why we even do these village meetings, we'll go give a little bit of a background, talk a little bit about the agenda, which is a little heavy. So I'll just go through quickly on some of the things that we hope to accomplish today. Of course, the welcome, what we're going through now, a little background about Rage. We'll talk about that. We have guest speakers, several guest speakers from the city of Chicago in different capacities. We'll do a quick Rage recap report and talk about some of the community news that's happening around town. And then also have another guest speaker and then the re-up report. And then I think for a lot of folks who jumped on the call, we'll talk about the new land sale program and have some conversation on that. And then of course, if you have, we'll do some announcements, some things that's coming up, some things that we want you to engage in, some things we just want you to know. And then we'll open it up if other folks got things they would like to share, like to do, then definitely we want to open it up to the village. I hope that's cool. And then because it's a lot of us, and it's probably going to be a lot of questions, we are going to ask you to use some Zoom etiquette. Try to stay on mute if you can. If not, we will mute you. We do want everybody to be able to speak up if they have a question, and we want to give folks that chance. So we're asking that you raise your hand. At the bottom of your screen, you should see a little reaction in terms of how to raise your hand. And just for, practice, because we just do it just so people know how to raise their hand. All right. I see hands raising. Cool. Perfect. And hopefully my sound is good. Cool. All right. And you can put your hands down. Do you not do that? Do people know how to do that? I know everybody are not sure how to put their hand down once they get them up. So cool. All right. So for folks who are joining us for the first time, this is the easiest way to contact us. Hopefully you can see it on the slide. If not, we can always give our contact information within the chat. Our email, kind of our box of all communication, goes to joinrage@gmail.com. Our hotline, our phone number that all of us are able to grab hold to is 866-845-1032. If it's questions or you got additional things you want to talk about, please call us. We are all here waiting for you. If you're into Twitter, 140 characters, really hard sometimes for Rage to tweet because we got a lot to say. Go find us at join_rage. And if you're on Instagram, pictures and videos, go to rage_Englewood, and then also on Facebook, and then of course our website and TikTok. So these are just a few ways to contact us, but for us, we like that phone call, we like that text message, we like that email, just a good old-fashioned way of connecting with folks. So a brief overview about Rage. So just for folks know, our mission is very, very clear. It is really to create tangible solutions and mobilize residents and resources to restore our community. And we say that very intentional in terms of restore because we know it has been stripped. And so a lot of our work is when people are like, what does Rage do? A lot of times it's just us figuring out how to offer opportunities and resources for the folks who live in this community. It's not many folks who advocate to do that and also live in the area. So we just are very, very intentional how we try to lift up the residents of Englewood. And then just for folks who don't know, we were founded back in November 2010. It was about 13 of us who lived in the community. It has always been resident-led. It's never been organized from the outside. Folks who live in this community, love this community, work around the clock. We're the ones who really founded this association. And of course, people felt some type of way about the name Rage, but it stuck, and we are now 12 years old and completely asset-based, grassroots, on the ground, and always looking at our community from an asset-based perspective. Although, a lot of folks like to lead with deficits, we really like to look at the things in our community as assets. And one of the largest assets are the residents in our community and our members. So we're always going to be shouting them out, lifting them up, and doing things that we could do together collectively. And then our members are, and I will get a new map eventually, but our members are mainly, the majority actually live within the Englewood community. That doesn't matter if you're a homeowner, renter, whatever the case may be, they live in the community. That's our majority. But then we do have members who do not live in the community anymore. Their mom can still be in the community, their grandma in the community, they got a church here. They join Rage as well. They're also assets, but really they follow the lead of the residents. And anybody could join. So just to let you know, and actually we just got a member out of Canada. FYI, their mailing came back, Samaya. It didn't go through customs. So we sent out a membership package and somebody joined from Canada, but unfortunately we couldn't get it over to customs. So just know anybody in the city of Chicago can join and outside of the city. And I always like to brag, we do have a member in every single 50th ward of the city of Chicago, if you didn't know. How do you join? It's very, very simple. We don't have a real fancy website. You join online at rageenglewood.org. It is dues for residents, for non-residents, and it's a really simple application, but it helps us track who our members are, why they're interested, and really keep tabs on where folks are and where areas that we need to have a little bit more outreach. And I'll just pause and look in the chat just to make sure I don't have any questions. Oh, is that you from now in Canada? Yeah, Joyce, sorry, your package came back. But welcome, glad to see you. Glad to see you here. That's the good thing about Zoom. We could get you guys and from anywhere in Chicago and also the country. So to become a member, as we said, you complete the application. Executive members are the folks who live in this community. It is $25 a year. If you do not live in this community, you are an affiliate member. That is $20 a year. And then if you really kind of don't want to, you want to connect, but not really continue to build relationships and take action, it's cool. You can be an associate member, and that's for $10 a year. And all the dues support our general operations and the work that we do. So good, I get to pause for a second. I know that, I don't know, for me, I haven't seen many of them, but I've received a couple of emails from people running and actually trying to get signatures to be a part of this council. And we got an email and we saw that the deadline was coming up, and we don't know if anybody has heard of them. Just by a show of hands, have anyone heard or seen people petitioning to be a part of these kind of district councils? Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so I know a couple of our members had sent us like notes to let us know that they were looking to be in this role, but we thought it would be a good opportunity to have someone speak about it, and so people can understand, you know, what the role is, what it looks like, and some of the things that is necessary. So is Isaac here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Isaac. And I don't know, Isaac, if you have slides or not, if you wanted to share, but I can totally make it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do have slides.
Okay, so let me stop my share. And how are you?
Doing very well. Really excited to be speaking to you guys. I actually worked in the Englewood community for about a year and a half, so really excited to be speaking to you guys today.
Yeah, I saw an old email from you that you did something with us a while. Like when I looked up your name, I was like, wait, Isaac has hit us up before. So thank you for being here, and you can take it away. You should be able to share.
Perfect. I will see if I can figure out sharing my screen.
Where it says, it should say share screen.
Right. Would you mind if I
And if-
potentially sent
Yeah.
you the, for some reason it's not showing me the preview of what tab it'll
So
be.
I'm gonna do a co-host, and tell me, do you see any more additional features now? And if not, feel free to send me the email. We could totally grab it.
Yes, let me.
And we also put
check
a link
if
in
it's
the
here.
chat. So folks could know a little bit.
Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and email this to you because
Okay.
I'm still having an error for some reason.
Let me show you what,
Yeah,
just as you do that, just because we do have a few things to get to. I'm gonna just share this a little bit. I mean, it's from I don't know if I'm in the right place, but it's from the city's website.
perfect. And I just sent the slides to Brittany.
Okay. Cool.
I'll grab.
All right. Do you want to talk a little bit about what we're seeing, at least on the city site? And then I'll grab and just grab this slide.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, to tell you a bit about, the history of the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability. So as I'm sure, many of you are already aware, this was worked on for many, many years, over, the past 5 years or so by a couple of community groups and coalitions, and was really the effort of thousands of people across the city to make this a reality. We started, this law was passed in 2021 that brought us into existence. So the law created both ourselves, the Community Commission, which is a 7-member body that oversees the entire city, and works on police oversight, kind of systemic issues that affect the entire city of Chicago. And it also created these police district councils, which I'm sure you guys are hearing about, many people running for police district council. Yes, and thank you so much for having the slides up. And so you can get into more in the presentation, but basically this is meant to be kind of a 2-pronged system of civilian police oversight. So on the one hand, you have the citywide commission, which has this kind of zoomed out view of issues that are going on citywide, that works on policy at a high level. And then you have the district councils, which will be kind of your person in the community, your representative that serves a couple neighborhoods that you can go to and say on a daily basis, I have these concerns about the way that policing is done in my neighborhood. So Ramel, are you online as well?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. So I'll let you take it away with the first couple slides, and then I will jump in again to talk more about the some open applications we have for positions.
Thank you, Isaac. So good evening, everyone. My name is Ramel Terry. I'm one of 7 commissioners that Commissioner Troncoso just mentioned. I do have a connection to Englewood from a familial and friend perspective, not necessarily doing work, but having family and friends that reside in Englewood and spending time there, as well as having a connection to PEZ. Some of you all may be familiar with that school, Providence Englewood. So having a connection there as well. So grateful to be here today speaking to you guys about the commission and the great work that is happening. So I won't belabor some of the points that Isaac sort of mentioned, because as you can see on the slide, he already spoke about the Commission for Public Safety and Accountability, as well as how the district councils tie into that. But I do want to share that though the legislation was passed in July 2021, we were not appointed until August 29th of this year. And so what's also really cool about this commission is that the commissioners are from various parts of the city of Chicago, but we represent the entire city. So though some of us may reside on the northwest or south sides, we are responsible for the entire city. And some of the other things that are very important to know is that after the February 2023 elections, that is when the district councils will be established. So the piece that was being mentioned, those will be established after the upcoming municipal election in February. So if we can go ahead to the next slide. So some of the powers that the CCPSA has, and why is this important? Why is this really important? We really play a central role in selecting and removing the police superintendent. We also have authority over selecting and removing the head of COPA, which is the Civilian Office for Police Accountability. So that's the entity that investigates police complaints that fall under certain issues like shootings, Second Amendment violations, and things of that nature. And we also are responsible for appointing police board members. The reason this is very important is that previously this was done solely by the mayor. So there was not an application process. The mayor could select whomever. And now as a commission, we have the authority to appoint members to the police board. And so you'll hear more about that later in the presentation. Also, what's very important as it relates to our powers is that we are able to set, review, and veto CPD, COPA, and police board policy. So having that community oversight over policy, we know is very, very important. We also are responsible for and have the power to promote community engagement and make CPD budget recommendations before the city council votes on the budget. So this allows for us, and many of you have probably participated in that recent meeting where we spoke a little bit about the budget. And so we also have a report that you all can reference that shows and outlines some of the concerns and recommendations that we had as it relates to the CPD budget. for 2023. And one of the other powers amongst some of the others is that we coordinate public safety citywide with the soon-to-be police district council. So whoever those individuals are, if you are someone that's on the call, we look forward to working with you all as it relates to coordinating efforts around public safety from a community perspective, just ensuring all voices are heard and all concerns are elevated. And we do this in conjunction with raising these issues with all the various policing agencies around the city of Chicago, not just with CPD. Oh, the next slide, please. Thank you.
Did you want this one or did you want to go another one over?
No, the CCPS details. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And so just some additional details about the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability. We do host monthly meetings that are scheduled for the last Thursday of each month, but for the month of November and the month of December, because of the holidays, they will not be the last Thursday of the month. So our upcoming meeting for the month of November is going to be at 6:30, Monday, November 28th. The location is to be determined, but if you want to get an update, if you're not already on our mailing list, you can go right to the website listed there, chicago.gov/Chicago Community Commission. And there you can find an abundance of information about the commission, some of the things that you're going to hear about tonight, some of the things that I've already shared as well. And if you're interested at all in our report, we do want to make sure you all are aware of it. You can find it at tinyurl.com, CCPSA 2023 CPD budget. We will say that this was picked up by all of the major media outlets. We have received a lot of support around this, and we thank any of you all who have reached out to us, thanking us for this work. We truly, truly appreciate it because it is not easy, but we know that with the support of the community, we will be successful. And if you have any other meetings or opportunities, or you want to be added to our mailing list, feel free to reach out to Commissioner Troncoso at isaactroncoso@cityofchicago.org, or you can reach out to myself, Ramel Terry, at cityofchicago.org. And so that concludes my section of this presentation. And so I'm going to turn it over to Isaac to tell you more about the police board.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that, Ramel. And we can go to the next slide. Yep. So for those who aren't familiar with the police board, it is the 9-member body that decides when police officers are guilty or not guilty of misconduct. So basically, it decides these cases when the superintendent decides to file charges to discharge a CPD officer, and when COPA, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, and the superintendent disagree about what the discipline of an officer should be. That's basically when the police board comes into play and gives the final guilty or not guilty and what the punishment should be if there is one. And it also can, in addition to that, decide appeals for when CPD officers who have been applicants have been disqualified by a background check and they appeal to still be a part of the CPD, but the police board also plays a role in deciding whether or not they move on. You can go to the next slide. Great. So basically, the role of the Community Commission is very integral into the makeup of the police board. So deciding, who sits on this board and making sure that it represents the diverse communities of Chicago, both in appointing members and in removing members. So in appointing members, there's a process for the commission to nominate anybody to be on the police board. So first of all, a vacancy will occur. There's currently 3 vacancies. So there's 6 of 9 people on the board. The commission will then develop a short list of 3 candidates per vacancy. The mayor will either pick one of the candidates the commission puts forth or request a new slate of candidates. And then the city council would ultimately vote to approve. And you can go to the next slide. So beyond that, the Community Commission can also remove a member of the police board if they feel that they're no longer doing the proper duty of the police board. So first of all, we would believe that somebody's unfit, then we could hold hearings, call them to testify, have a vote of no confidence in this member, and then that again would prompt a city council vote on removal. So the commission has large power to start the process of someone getting appointed or start the process of somebody getting removed. And you can go to the next slide. You can participate by applying today to be a member of the police board. So as Ramel alluded to previously, members would just be selected by the mayor. And we have this historic first ever open application process where any member can put forth their name, throw their hat in the ring to be a member of the police board to help us decide cases of misconduct. Those are due on November 20th. Which is in 5 days. So highly recommend, you begin working on that as soon as possible. If you have, difficulty meeting that deadline, email me and we will see what we can do. But we have that 5-day deadline from now. And you can go to the next slide. Great. So people that should apply should have experience in one of these main areas. So some of them, selected ones are law, civil rights, law enforcement, mental health and psychology, community engagement, police oversight, advocacy of marginalized communities, public safety, or social work. So these are the recommended categories to apply. And it's also recommended to have 10 to 15 years of experience in any of these categories. But you can find the full details on our website. You can go to the next slide. And to quickly touch on the other body that we are seeking applications for, this is the Non-Citizens Advisory Council. You can go to the next slide. So basically what this is a 14-member volunteer group that will advise the CCPSA to make sure that we're taking into account the perspectives of non-citizens in Chicago to incorporate their experiences into our public safety work. Applications for this are also due in 5 days on November 20th. And again, for this and the police board application, you can find all the details, all the eligibility requirements at chicago.gov/Chicago Community Commission. And we'll send out this presentation after as well. And lastly, very important point, you will not be required to disclose your immigration status, and we will preserve the privacy of your immigration status. And that should be our last slide. And again, I'll be sending some more details in the chat, but thanks so much for having us.
Sure. Thank you. I do want to give a little bit over time, but I do want to give an opportunity if folks had any questions or about the process of anything that was shared today. And you can raise your hand if you do, or if it's too loud where you are and you would prefer to put it in the chat, feel free to put it in the chat. And I just see if I see any hands raised. So the only question I had, the individuals who are circulating petitions for this role, are they, is that the November 20th deadline?
So that, and I'm probably going to be off by a day or two, but that is, so those petitions are due the same dates that anybody else filing petitions to be on the municipal ballot is due, which I believe is between November 21st and the 28th. You have to submit your petitions, and you have to get, the amount you have to get varies by police district. So I suggest going to the Board of Elections to make sure.
Okay. Any other questions?
And I'll put our YouTube channel in the chat where you can watch recordings of all of our past meetings.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you presenting. It's definitely some folks I do know in Rage and just residents in general who are interested in this type of work. And so just having it kind of laid out is extremely helpful. So I appreciate you guys. You are welcome to stay at the meeting. But if anybody has any questions, if you didn't already put your contact information in there, definitely put your contact information in the chat so we can also share that out. And I will unpin you guys. All right, a little bit of, we'll try to go through, not so quickly, but at least talk about a few Rage updates and, community news, things that's, literally hot off the presses. that we, as you all know, I don't know if many people got the opportunity to kind of have closure with Whole Foods over the past weekend. They had a 50% off sale. It was packed as if like it was the first day when it opened. And so November 13th was the date. You're probably seeing a lot of different news stories about it, articles about it. So it is done. So yesterday I had the opportunity to get on a call with the deputy mayor and the landlord for Whole Foods and the alderman and a couple other leaders within this community. And unfortunately, the unfortunate news that we heard was that Save a Lot would be occupying this space on 63rd and Halsted. I believe now it's some rebranding things that are happening with Save a Lot. So although it's, people know Save a Lot, the brand, some people may love it. I know for sure from what I've heard with the surveys that was conducted and from the voices from our aldermen and everyone else, Save a Lot just was not something that the community wanted here at this space. And it sounds like to me, that's what's moving forward. I believe it's some conversation with folks around a CBA, a community benefits agreement, trying to duplicate, some of the things that we were able to do to get Black-owned businesses on the shelf. And so I am positive that work will continue to move forward. But that is what I got yesterday. If I'm wrong, if the article may be in there, but you also might have seen something in the Sun Times about somebody who already was working on the vacant Save a Lot stores that are all throughout Black communities. And they got like a $13.5 million grant to get these kind of back. And so I guess this kind of saga moves on. And so I just want to pause. I don't know if people have thoughts in the chat or questions about that, or just wanted to share anything that, from that experience that just happened in Englewood. You can raise your hand if you like. Or put it in the chat. Oh, okay, Paula, go ahead.
Hey, thank you so much. I just wanted to check and see, is it the same operation, the Black organization that is out of Columbus, Ohio or something like that? The Banana, I can't recall what their name is, that is opening up these 7 Save-A-Lots. Are they opening the space that is recommended for the replacement of Whole Foods?
Yeah, so that is what was told to us yesterday, that they would be occupying a space with the model they have used through the Save a Lot brand, or either, kind of reviving Save a Lots throughout other parts of the United States, and that they will be at this location. And it is a Black operator. The individual name is Michael Nance. It was just a big old thing that happened at council yesterday around the approval of using some of the tax dollars to get these stores back going. Marcus and then Lena.
I think you just answered my question, because it sounds like Save a Lot is the answer at this point, if it's gotten all the way to approval of the city commission. Are we at the end of the thing and are simply being informed, or is there more to be done to influence it?
That's a great question, Marcus. I'm not sure. I didn't get that it was a lot that we could do to influence that decision. That's not what I got from the meeting. If anyone else is on the call who was on that meeting, feel free to speak up. But I really got, this is our best options. This is how we're moving forward. And I think because of the work of the vacant Save-A-Lots throughout our communities, that they were already moving forward with those, I think they just kind of looped this store into that. They talked a lot about branding and that they know that folks are really against the Save-A-Lot brand, and that unequivocally people said on the Teamwork Englewood survey that they did not want to Save a Lot. I heard kind of like, okay, this is what it is. And that was it. So it was just a lot of other leaders on the call who was all like, CBA, let's do a community benefits agreement. And so I just felt like, okay, I wasn't gonna sit and try to fight that fight. We got a lot of other stuff we gotta do. I just felt like it's some other folks who can maybe jump in the game and You know, I did a lot of work with Whole Foods. I worked with the foundation. The foundation still wants to grant money to people doing food access work in Englewood. And so I'm gonna work on that solution as just another thing instead of trying to go back and forth on this particular retail space. Elena, thank you, Marcus.
Yeah, as I was gonna ask about the community involvement, just like Whole Foods, just like you were just talking about all the work you've done. Would they be involved in the community like Whole Foods, or should that been a stipulation before they agreed to let them come?
That's what I heard. I'm just gonna double check any names on here who was on the call. No, the 16th Ward was there. I don't see any other the folks that was on the call yesterday, but that my understanding is that they said that the community groups and the leaders will try to work with this operator, have some demands around the operator, work to get Black-owned businesses and, you know, products on a shelf, work around the workforce, a similar model in terms of what we did with Whole Foods.
So, I just slipped my mind.
All right. I see one more hand raised, and then we'll lay that to bed. Go ahead, Paula.
Yes, last thing, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Do they have a timeline on reopening?
I jumped off the call. I didn't hear a timeline. I jumped off a little early. I had another meeting I had to get to. But I'm pretty sure I'm hoping that a timeline was discussed. And so I don't know. I know it's some other folks from DPD on the call, but I don't know if they're privy to those conversations. But as soon as we know a timeline, we would definitely share out. And I would just say, you know, on a lighter note, we got a new Black-owned business open in Englewood. You know, that's a clap, or it's a reaction of a clap. We can't, waddle into some of the corporate things that happen, but we do have one of our members, Chef D, opened up Hot Brats right there on 62nd and Ashland. It was a phenomenal grand opening. Of course, Rage Members was out and just supportive. If you don't know Chef D, he used to actually be underneath the Green Line on Halsted a few years ago, and now has this opening in a workforce component with this. And so I'll just pause this to give anybody else, maybe even Ashley, to talk a little bit about the reopening, or anyone who was there at the opening. And just, maybe, I don't know if Chef D is on.
I don't know if he's on, but I was at the opening. It was a celebration. We were all so happy and excited. Chef Daryl shows up to a lot of stuff for the community. So, we showed up for him. We had a nice cider toast. I had the bullhorn outside letting everybody know there was a new Black-owned business on the block. So if they couldn't stop then, they can come back later some other time and support. Just really happy to have Hot Brats open, and go and get yourself a brat, a donut, some elotes.
It did. Please put, okay, perfect. Thank you, Brittany. And anyone else, if they have anything, if they've been there, shout out to Chef D and say something, feel free if you want to chime in. Put the address in for folks. It's on the screen, but it's 6239 South Ashland, and they're opening 11 to 7. They're open for business. I think, and if I'm not mistaken, is it Sunday through, they're closed Monday? Ashley, do you know? I don't know off the bat.
They're closed Sunday.
Okay, I knew it was something like that. Okay, cool. So we've been talking a little bit about, the micro market recovery program. For folks who don't know, this is a program of the city of Chicago that really has a boundary in certain areas of communities who have had, just a devastation as it relates to home ownership, as it relates to the vacancies that we've had. Every meeting, we sound the alarm about the many vacant properties within our community and how it's not a huge cry out to get these places back occupied. So we're going to do the best that we can. And so we are looking for folks to engage with us as we launch our MMRP kind of housing task force, because it's a couple of things that we want to be able to do, and we know we can't do it alone. we want to try to get these spaces back occupied with people in them. Also report those to Troubled Buildings Initiative if they're a nuisance on the block. And then also think about the homeowners that are in that area, in this kind of boundary where resources are supposed to be deployed, if it's things that they need. I know when we were doing Porch Life, we heard constantly around roofs that were needed or trees that needed to be cut, and the dumping behind them. And so I think the micro market recovery kind of I would say it kind of makes a small area of Englewood that can be focused on as it relates to sometimes stabilizing the housing. Although the entire community needs it, it is an opportunity for us to go a little bit deeper within that. And so we welcome residents or professionals or researchers, because there's a lot of research, to join this task force. And we'll be launching a meeting very soon. And like I said, I think Amadi is traveling, so he might not be on the call to talk about it. And then I'm gonna double check the chat and see if there's any questions. Okay, perfect. Everybody's so quiet today. Yeah, so this is the area. So if you don't know, the boundaries is from 59th through 71st. And it's from the Dan Ryan to Racine. So that's the area. And then we were told about, I guess, somewhere in like September, that it was no more money for down payment assistance. If anybody first time home buyer, that this money was gone. And then we got told that it's money there. So actually it's like 16 grants available now for.
Yes, they said there are 16 new grants available until the end of the year. And they also said that there's going to be more than they had available this year for next year. So we have a re-up on these MMRP $15,000 down payment assistance grants. They are for first-time home buyers, but that also considers people who haven't purchased a home in the past 3 years. So a lot of people are considered first-time home buyers, apparently. You also have to plan to live in the home. It must be either single family or a multi-unit up to 4 units. And you have to have your purchase contract that's signed from both parties and the pre-approval from the lender. So you have to be in the process of purchasing the property. And again, if this is for properties.
And Cassandra said you have to close by 12/31. So I could definitely tell you from our experience working with a homeowner to get these MMRP funds, it's not easy. So it is kind of some strenuous guidelines. You got to move, you got to be on it, you got to show your closing documents. And apparently, according to Cassandra, you got to close by 12/31.
And yeah, and Miss Ellen, I've heard that if you are close to the boundaries, you should still apply. It's not a definite no. If you feel like it's close enough, I would encourage you to still apply, because it's possible that you may be able to get the funding.
Yeah, thank you.
And there's a link in the chat now to that flyer.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any questions? I want to make sure anybody had any questions about MMRP, the updates, the task force, the boundaries, any of that. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. Cool. So if you didn't read our newsletter, or if you don't look at us on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else, we had the opportunity to surprise 5 of our most faithful members of Rage, who have been around, probably many of them have been around since 2010. And actually one of our other members, Dion Dawson, really was the kind of the plug between Sam's Club and Rage. And they had this, $1,000 shopping spree. They literally thought they were coming to volunteer, and they were ready. They had the shirts, they was ready to go. And all of them walked away with so many things from Sam's Club. Didn't have no clue that they were getting this stuff. And so we have a really sentimental video. I won't play it because we don't have a lot of time, but I'll just open it up either for Samaya or anyone else on the staff or any of our members, even if any of them are on the call, to talk about this surprise that we had.
I think you pretty much touched on everything, but I do want to hear from maybe a member who we surprised. I did see Darlene in here, maybe Darlene.
Oh yeah, I did see Darlene.
Hello,
Hey.
this is Darlene Green.
Hey, darling.
Hi, yes, I came ready. I was after work. I was like, it's raining, but I'm still coming because I know what I came to do and I came to give back. And I kept calling and no one answered the phone. So I just walked in like, okay, well, where are these people? Where are they? And it was like, okay, we need you to straighten up with this and do this. And I'm like, okay, you're doing it too fast. Now we got to find something else for you to do. Then I turned around and seen the camera and my face, and I gave the ugly cry again.
You did. It was a good cry. It was a good cry.
I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, why they gotta make me ugly cry? So I was like, oh my goodness. And everybody was like, you're not getting it. I'm like, I know what I came to do. I came to get my electronic gadget. Got my air fryer with the microwave and a baker on it. I got an ice machine. I got my karaoke machine. I got a little.
Okay, darling. You gonna go through the whole list.
I just was like overwhelmed. I couldn't. I still woke up the next morning and looked to make sure the stuff was still there. I was like, this is a dream. So thank you. I'm not gonna keep you for long because I know you got other people that might want to say something because I'm long-winded. But thank you. I appreciate all opportunities and more to come.
You are welcome, Darlene. And I know you are a new member, but you had jumped in and immediately just wanted to help in any way and capacity, like immediately. And so I'm glad we were able to bless you and hope to do more in the future. And yeah, I won't play the video, but just for folks and members who know, members as well as their and guests they invite, we're doing a holiday party. You guys voted at our last members only meeting and said, okay, we cool, we could be in person again. So we're gonna re-up the holiday party and have it on December 22nd at one of our members' spaces, event spaces on 69th and Wentworth. So more details to follow. We'll have an Eventbrite, probably gonna be a couple of more awards and surprises. So let's get it. Anything else anyone wanna add? I hope our members are happy about this. We listened to y'all this time. Okay, cool. All right, so I want to give Katie an opportunity to talk quickly around CompuDot. Am I pronouncing that correctly? And these are, and is Katie here? I saw her. Catherine, Katie, is it? I see them there. Okay, maybe we come back unless she needs to go off mute. If she said anything in the chat, let me just make sure.
I'll double check, Aisha.
Okay. I see the name, but it just says Catherine. Cool. So we'll go back to Catherine and then we'll quickly talk through our re-up updates. We'll come back to Catherine to see if she gets on, and I'll have Ashley just kind of run through a little bit about the background about the re-up, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some of our activities, and then we'll lead into our conversation around the land. So Ashley, you want to talk a little bit about the re-up?
Yes, thank you. So the re-up, for people who do not know, is RAGE's initiative. So it's RAGE's Economic Upliftment, going around program. And it's our initiative to strengthen the economic and social fabric of the greater Englewood community. And so we do this by uplifting 4 areas of development, and that is increasing employment, Black-owned business support, increasing home ownership, and community-based real estate development. And so we do different activities to hit each of those goals. And so I'll talk about those as we go kind of through stuff. But the re-up meetup was an event that we did that was focused on the re-up specifically and uplifting home ownership and the community-based real estate development. And so we brought together people from our By the Block home buyers education course. We brought together our community-based real estate developers that work with RAGE. We brought together some of our real estate professionals, some of our agents, brokers, and as well as our home improvement specialists, and RAGE members, of course. And we got together to discuss real estate and the state of real estate in Englewood and some of the things we would like to see in Englewood. We had some activities, like If I Could Re-Up Englewood, where we wrote down some of the things we would like to see. And we passed the mic around and spoke about some of those things as well. We also had an icebreaker activity where we kind of forced people to talk, because, you know, some people don't do that when they get to event. And everyone kind of, we had a game where you were supposed to meet someone from a different segment. So someone from each of those different segments had on a different colored name tag, so that you could kind of navigate to, okay, I need to speak to someone with a blue name tag, someone with a red name tag, so that you can meet someone from each aspect. We also gave out some prizes and played some more games. So it was a really great event.
And we had it at one of our members' new places that you can't miss, the space we were at. We was at E.G. Woods.
Yes.
So if you're not familiar with E.G. Woods, it is a new business that opened, another Black-owned business that opened within the community right off of 62nd in May. And it was brand new. It's just opened. So, and it's 4 businesses inside of there.
And not only is there 4 businesses inside of there, but we also brought additional Black-owned businesses, such as Lee Taylor, who provided the decoration, as well as Youth Servers from Englewood, who brought around food on trays, and they're really polite and great kids. We also had Soul Pods and Black Plant Lovers as well. So it was a uplifting Englewood businesses, as well as our real estate developers and homeowners and potential home buyers as well. And we also just concluded By the Block yesterday, our 5th cohort. So the By the Block is our home buyers education course. It's 4 sessions. Each session is devoted to a different aspect of home buying. The first session is we speak to a landlord about the importance of just purchasing a multi-unit building for your family's stability and generational wealth. And then we speak to a loan officer on the second session who talks to you about getting your pre-approval and going through that process. The third session, we bring in a realtor as well as a home inspector and a real estate attorney, so that you can understand what it means to build your team and the people that you need in position to go through the process. And then the last session is about landlord management, so how to manage a property once you acquire it. And so we just concluded those.
Actually, just because we are running out a little bit of time, I want to be quick. That's okay. But I just wanted to really point folks to our Black-owned business directory and just the work that we've been doing to try to really increase the number of Black-owned businesses on this directory, so people could go and they could shop and just quickly know that this is a part of the re-up work. It's a link there. And if you're also a Black-owned business, we would definitely encourage you to sign up, specifically in Englewood, Arrest Englewood, only 60621 and 60636 right now. And so we just want to make sure we do that. And then I know you had talked a little bit about the restaurant link and some things happening, but I know I want to make sure that we call out that people could connect with the re-up working group. And yeah, go ahead.
Please, our next meeting is December 7th, 4:30 to 6. There's a link to join the re-up working group, and you'll be invited to the re-up working group meetings, where we work on as a community towards uplifting these initiatives like By the Block, Jobs on the Block, re-up homes, etc. So if you're interested in sort of helping us work through the kind of fine points and sort of thinking through how we want to execute and strategize, feel free to join that, and that link is in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. That's okay. Look, I didn't know you was gonna get a whole curriculum about Black. We gotta hold a little bit for our own. We can't get them everything, Ashley. I mean, come on. But thank you. I appreciate it. I'm excited about that last cohort. I mean, it's been so many remarkable, hopeful folks who truly are interested in purchasing in Englewood, truly are interested in restoring vacant spaces, truly are interested in leaving a legacy for even for their own family. So Buy the Block has been that all year, and just listening to the reasons why people are taking the classes and the steps they want to take has been phenomenal. I'm Lanen real quick, and I'm gonna run through my quick update on the re-up activity. Go ahead, Lanen.
Yeah, I have had a lot of questions about, is it funds to help with the lots, the vacant lots, and you know,
Yeah, well, we'll
funds to help
see.
improve the lots once they put.
Yeah, that's I think that's going into the next topic a little bit, so we'll find out about that. Thank you. I'm gonna mute you. So for folks who don't know, again, 48% of you guys, this is your first time, so you may not have heard this, but Rage has been in the process of acquiring this building at 59th and Racine. For folks who don't know, it's the former Leon's building, probably altogether about a 14,000 square foot property, outside and inside. Our headquarters will be at this location, as well as Black-owned businesses on the first floor. And so we're working to really have a really nice discounted amount of rent for them to be there. Looking to have a restaurant in this space, have a few very promising letters of intent. Just met a Black-owned business the other day who is interested in this space, Jars by Jasmine. I wasn't familiar. I'm not a dessert person, but they are considering this space as well. I always have to show the prettiness, the ugliness, and then the prettiness of the building. And our second floor area here is where Rage headquarters will relocate. So we're excited. We just got our final approval for closing. And so I've been saying it at every meeting, but I'm hoping before year end, we will be closing and have this title and can get ready for our pre-construction work. And so, yes, and then just more nice renderings from our fellow Rage members. And again, if you are interested in the re-up, please sign up, go online in any form or capacity, join the Black Business Directory, shop at the Black Business Directory, get involved with the re-up working group. This is not necessarily just for members. This is from anyone who is looking at uplifting the economics of our community. Another quick update, the land that we gifted our members will be closing soon. This was an opportunity that we had to partner with the Cook County Land Bank in honor of Juneteenth, almost as a reparations or a step of reparations. And so they wanted to partner with Rage. We know exactly where our members are. We know our members have tons of vacant land on their block. If I was to ask anyone on the call who live in Englewood, if you have a vacant lot on your block, everybody's hands would probably raise. And so we had the opportunity to gift our members this free land. And so all of them are working towards getting their deeds, and they're looking to have a closing either at our offices or downtown with Cook County Land Bank. So yes, Jackie. Go ahead. You might have to unmute yourself. Okay. All right. If you want to pop in, because I see your hand raised. And questions, I know we went through that. Thank you. I know we went through that really quickly, but I did want to move, because as we talk about gifted land and as we talked about our partnership with the Cook County Land Bank that we hope to continue because they do have a large inventory of land within the Englewood community. I also want to, point to the history of the large lot program, which will help us talk through this new program that we have city officials here on the call to talk about. I think for most of the people who was around Rage in 2012 or 2013, we all knew that we had an issue, a problem around an abundance of land throughout our community. Not that they cause any problems in terms of crime, but it's just an eyesore for a lot of folks. And so we do know, we did surveying, we went around and talked to the few homeowners that are in our community and really asked them would they be interested in purchasing city-owned property for $1. And, you know, we talked through it. It was a lot of work. It was a few years of work, but eventually this ordinance passed and this opportunity came for homeowners within the area. I am not exactly sure where things may have went wrong in terms of if it was speculators trying to purchase it or whatever the case may be. But for us, we had a lot of success stories. And I know for myself with this lot that's behind me on my screen, it helped stabilize my block. I had shootings on this block on a regular. I had, you know, just so many issues here. I got this lot, I fixed up this lot, the neighbors fixed it up, they painted it, they built it, and it is silent on this block. And so we know that that can happen again. And I think as we think about the new program and land sales, really know that the spirit of the large lot program came from an opportunity for homeowners to try to have some pathways to wealth, also try to stabilize their block, and also be able to get some of this abundant land that sits very near them on the block. And so these are just some examples. And I know I saw some of our members, and I'm gonna do a poll really quick. Let me close this one. I'm just gonna launch a poll really quick so we can know who's here. And it's just a simple question. Have you purchased a lot for $1? And are you interested in purchasing land in Englewood? And we'll just give people the opportunity to respond. And then is Margaret still here? Is Margaret here? Oh, there you go. There you go. I'm gonna pin you up. And we did not forget about you guys. We still got you guys, but we're gonna just have some conversation with our guest speakers. Okay, let's see. Not a lot of folks. Have you purchased? Only 9% did, 91% didn't. 73% would like to. I'll share this. Anyone else? We got about 69% participation. Take about 30 seconds. Have you purchased a vacant lot for $1? Are you interested in purchasing land in Englewood? All right, 100% answered on the. Cool. So I'm going to share the results. Just make sure everybody sees these. And I'm going to bring on Margaret and anyone else from the city to kind of talk a little bit about what the city is planning on doing in terms of land sales. And I'm going to share, do everybody see the results? Okay. A lot of folks will love land. Okay, cool. Margaret?
Cool. Thank you, Aisha.
Sure.
Thanks so much. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. But first, I think just want to introduce myself. My name is Margaret Decker. I work in the mayor's office with the State of Chicago and have been working on kind of all the issues with city-owned vacant land over the past year or so. So as Aisha mentioned, there's so much city-owned land. There's so much vacant land in Chicago and generally concentrated on the south and west sides where, you know, it contributes to negative stuff happening. And it's really hard to access land right now, whether it's city owned or otherwise. So that's kind of background on me. And then I'll also hand it to Candace to do a quick intro.
Hi, everyone. I'm Candace Moore. I'm the Chief Equity Officer here in the Mayor's office, and I lead our Office of Equity and Racial Justice. One, I'm kind of kicking myself that this is the first time that I've joined a RAGE meeting. I know about RAGE. I've known about RAGE before I even worked in the Mayor's office, so it's kind of good to be with you all, even though it's virtually, and just kind of hear how you do your meetings and the things that you're talking about. You know, I think it's really important, this conversation that we had. We did get a chance to talk to a few folks in advance about the land sale work, and that's what's really prompting us to come. You know, Aisha was like, we really need to talk to residents here in Englewood. We want them to understand, and then we want you all to hear directly from residents about some of the things that folks want to see. But I just want to add that my perspective on this and how I come to the work is really helping really across our city departments think about how do we build more equity into our strategies? We know that equity is affirmative work. We don't get it right just by having good intentions. We get it right through messing up sometimes, through working through challenges, through really kind of putting the question on the table. And so I am grateful for the work that Margaret is leading with the economic and neighborhood development team. And I'm grateful to be a partner here. And I'm also grateful to be with all of you all. And so my job is to kind of help us think through what could be possible as we think through this opportunity. And as Margaret shares the work that's going on right now. So thank you.
Thanks, Candace. And then I'll also just do a quick intro for Terry Purdue. And I also see Cassandra Sneed on here, who are supporting kind of being a point of contact in neighborhoods as we roll out our land sale platform. So I don't know if either of you wanted to say hi.
Hi.
Thanks. Awesome. All right, cool. So let me share my screen. Cassandra, I don't have audio, but they know I'm on it. Great. All right. So I'm excited to talk to you all today about the Shy Block Builder program. So as you know, the city owns a lot of vacant land, probably over 10,000 parcels. And pretty frequently we get feedback, we get requests from residents, from developers, from people that want to build housing, that want to build community plazas, that they want to purchase land from the city. But it's really confusing to figure out what land the city owns, where it is, what's the status, how do you go about purchasing it? And so a lot of times we only get certain people that we're able to sell land to. And I think, as Aisha alluded to, the large lots program was a really awesome way to kind of get at that point where how can we make it more transparent? How can we ensure that residents are accessing land? So kind of based on the success there, and then also based on some additional feedback and how we've been receiving all these requests to buy land, and we have to do it in this really convoluted one-off process. We're launching a new land sale platform called Shy Block Builder that proactively makes land available for sale to residents, to neighbors, to developers, just to make it really clear what the city owns and what can be purchased so that everyone has more insight and transparency into how to access city-owned land. So the key changes here is that all land sale applications will be submitted through the shyblockbuilder.com website. All the land that we're proactively selling has had a preliminary environmental review. So we know that in the past, when people have been interested in buying land, you reach out, you're interested, then there's a whole process to figure out the environmental conditions. And sometimes it ends up being way more expensive to do remediation or testing or whatever. And so we tried to cut that out and do that up front. We're saying either applicants must prove that they live directly next door to land, or they must be ready to build. So if you want to build a house or a community plaza or something, we want to see folks that have a plan. So we're not just selling land to people that are going to keep it vacant. And we're not going to close until folks that want to construct something have a permit to do that. And then we're offering land at either market rate. So that is going to be if you want to build a house, for yourself or some sort of commercial development, but at a 10% of the market rate for neighbors who live directly next door, or for community organizations that want to build like a community space. So how will residents know what's available for sale? So if you go to our website, chicago.gov/blockbuilder, you'll be able to browse a map, very similar to the large lots website, with a little bit more information and more features. So you can kind of see by ward, by address, look at your community area, and then you'll be able to click to apply, which will lead to kind of a pre-screener application to make sure that if you're a neighbor, that you're actually a neighbor, so we can push you through to the application. If there's a lot that you're interested that's not available right now, you can click an I'm interested button, and we'll be able to note that and potentially make it available for sale in future iterations of the program. And all lots will say why they're not available or what they are available for. So I think that will kind of help bring more clarity. So if there is a lot that is not available, it might say, oh, this needs further environmental review, or it might say it's being held for a planning process. So for example, surrounding the Englewood Nature Trail, we know there's kind of like discussions going on about what that will look like. And so we want to hold that back for now while we continue the community planning process. So just to kind of go deeper on the application options. So the proposed uses that we've laid out here is affordable housing. We're going to leverage the City Lots for Working Families program, which requires that the housing is affordable for folks up to 40% of the area median income, and that land through ordinance is available for $1. Market rate housing, so that's if you want to buy a house for yourself, build a house for yourself, or to sell at market rate, we would charge the market rate price for that property. For side yards, so neighbors that live directly next door that want to build like a side yard, have additional space, it'll be 10% of market value, and then same goes for community open space. So if you're a nonprofit organization and want to build a plaza or something. And then finally, commercial development. There's not a ton of commercially zoned land, but there is some, and so that would be available at the market rate as well. So to support buyers in completing applications, we'll have some online webinars. So there's 2 in English, 1 in Spanish. We'll have a network of local real estate brokers. So that's people like Carrie and Sandra, who will offer support and kind of be a helpline for individuals with questions about the process or application. And then we're also going to set up some yard signs to place on available lots to make sure folks know they're available, and then also mail postcards to adjacent neighbors, kind of informing them of the process and that they're eligible to have a side yard. And then how is the marketing list created? So we made sure, as I mentioned, that the parcels had environmental clearance. So we don't have to go through the whole environmental process, which slows stuff down. We took out anything that's an existing project or an existing sale in process. We considered areas to preserve or promote for future affordable housing construction. And then we worked with our regional planners and internal teams to identify strategic places to hold for planning. So like for Invest Southwest, the Red Line extension, the Englewood Nature Trail, stuff like that. And then we've been meeting with aldermen beginning in July to review and confirm lots to list, because ultimately all land sales have to go through city council. So it's really important to make sure that aldermen are on board with the process so that we can kind of sail straight through. So that's the overall summary. You can go to chicago.gov/blockbuilder to get more information. And then we're officially kind of opening up the application on Thursday and keeping it open. We're aiming to close around February 3rd. So we know we're opening right at the holidays, but hopefully giving some extra time in January so folks can, come back from any vacations and be able to still apply. Great, so that was my presentation. And then I'm seeing some questions in the chat. Okay, so first question, if you're a business owner but want to purchase land or a vacant lot but are not designated as a developer, are you eligible to purchase? Yes. So I think depending on what you want to do with it, so if like, for example, you want to create outdoor dining space next to your business, we would be able to offer that at a 10% of market rate discount. If you're just wanting to purchase land for like to build another business or something, we would put that at market rate, so you would be eligible. Question, do community members get first dibs to purchase? What's to stop developers from purchasing everything? So unless you are an adjacent neighbor, that means you live directly next door to the lot, you have to have a plan for what you're going to do with the land. So if you if you're a developer and you try to buy land, but you don't tell what you're going to do with it, or your plan doesn't seem feasible, like if somebody comes to us and says, oh, I'm going to build this, house and it's going to cost $100, we'll be like, okay, we know you're not really a serious buyer. You don't have a clear plan because you haven't really thought about what's going to go into this. And so we would not accept those applications. Also, even if you do have a plan, we're going to ask that you, let's say you're trying to build a house, we're going to say that you need to obtain permits for starting construction before we even close on the property. So that means that, if you're not taking steps to show that you're actually going to do what you said you would do, then we're not going to sell the land, because we want to make sure, again, that we're not having developers or speculators or whoever just sit on land and keep it vacant. Let's see, dates of the webinar. So we'll send around a flyer to everybody, but they will be coming up in December and then again in January.
And I see before we go through the chat, I see Sharice hand up, and then we could bounce back to some of the questions in the chat. Go ahead, Sharice.
Great.
Hi, my name is Sharice Price, Englewood resident, homeowner, business owner, all in Englewood. And I just had two really quick questions. So I see that it's been mentioned that in order to purchase the property, it has to be next to your home. Can you talk a little bit about why that was developed? Because, you know, I have some vacant property that's next to me and then some that's across from me. And I'm, you know, if I'm a homeowner and I'm interested in purchasing something across the street, I just want to know, you know, why would we not be able to do that? That's my first question.
So sure. So we got some feedback from residents and aldermen that they really want to see the lots kind of like used for a specific purpose unless it's directly next door to someone. So that's kind of why we went in that direction. But I think that's valuable feedback to hear that it could be beneficial to purchase across the street too. So I think, you know, again, this is not the only time that the city will, you know, have an open application window. So that's something we can certainly think about in the future.
Magazine, and then I'll take a look at some of the
I
questions
had-
in the
I had
chat.
one-
Oh,
I
I'm
had
sorry,
one other
Sharice, you
part.
got another question.
Can I
Go
just
ahead. I'm
finish?
sorry.
Yeah, just one other real quick. And so then also, I heard that you said that the aldermen have to approve the sale. Would this be the alderman of the ward that the property is in? Is it a committee?
Yep.
You know, how is that worked out?
Yeah, so by kind of ordinance right now, so any land that gets sold has to go past their city council. So typically that means, you know, you have to get, 26 votes on it, 50% plus one. So typically if the alderman in the ward is supportive, everybody else will vote yes and kind of push it through. So that's just like how the process always works is aldermen kind of have to be supportive of the project or the sale in general.
Magazine, and then Dion.
Hi, hello everyone. Hi, Margaret. This is Meika Zen. I sat on the committee with you and a group of other people earlier this year when the large lot conversation came about. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine it would roll out to be a developer's dream, which is what this actually appears to be, because you're selling lots, and someone did answer the question, is 1,195 lots in Englewood, and you're giving those lots to developers for $1. That's incredible. So I do have a couple questions. So is there a limit on the amount of lots a developer can purchase? And what type of housing are we looking at? These developers are going to create. And I'd really be interested in knowing, because we're talking about developers, it's just property from what I can understand from your spreadsheet. It's not commercial. You're not rezoning some of the neighborhoods for commercial properties. Is that correct? Thanks for putting that back up. I appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah,
so there are, but there are some
Okay.
commercial properties I see in here. So yeah, so who made the decision to take these lots and, you know, create them in a way where people who actually have the money will be the ones who can purchase this property as well as build, and not allow residents to actually not only have first bids, but be able to afford them and create something? Because even where you have open space for residential or commercial, what does the open space look like? So that, you know, there's like 1,001 questions, and this presentation was like 5 or 7 minutes. And I'm sorry, I'm going to stop talking, but I'm like in shock.
Yeah, no, thanks for the questions. And I want to clarify. So the only way developers are getting land for $1 is if it's through city lots for working families to build affordable housing. So I just want to clarify that. So that's a very specific program in that has been passed to help, because like affordable, like housing construction, we know the market right now, it's very expensive to build housing. And so to incentivize affordable housing, so affordable for folks up to 140% of the area median income, the land would be available for $1. So that goes for community development corporations, You have to build between 8 and 20 affordable homes through this program. So I just want to clarify, generally developers are not eligible to do this unless they follow the very strict guidelines of this program, which is codified in city ordinance.
And
So
I just want to
Mhm.
reiterate that. I just want to make sure I'm really clear. The city lots for working families, which I'm aware of, that has been in place, just like the ANLAP program for many years.
Yep.
It was a pilot when Ron was in administration. That will stay. That will stay. The opportunity for developers to purchase lots for $1 will stay. But the large lot program that allowed a homeowner to purchase various lots throughout their block, not necessarily adjacent, is gone.
Yeah, so right
Okay.
now we are
Okay.
not offering land to neighbors for $1.
Dion?
Hello, thank you for calling my move. I have a question. I'm in a situation where I had an abandoned house that was just demolished last month. The house had been vacant since probably 2012, 2000. I cut the weeds, shoveled snow, trimmed it. The house was developed. On the other side of that house is a home that is owned by a group of venture people. And they were like, what we wanted. I was like, the house was dead. The house was scheduled for demolition in 2015, but it got demolished now because that home where the developers are, a tree fell on it. The tree in their yard fell on it, damaged the abandoned house, damaged my house. And so I was advised to put a fence around it and to keep taking care of it, which is what I did. And so I'm just trying to make sure. And then I went down to City Hall and they told me it's going to be about 10 years before this land even comes up available for sale. And I'm just trying to find out, how do I go about making sure that when that happens, I'm first in line and not someone who hasn't cut a weed, hasn't shoveled snow, hasn't, cut the grass, to make sure they don't jump ahead of me and say, well, we want
it. Yeah, so that's kind of a complicated situation because the city doesn't really own that land. Usually when it's like demolished, it is because someone else owns it, but the city demolishes it, but it's still technically owned by someone else. So I think maybe I can follow up with you directly to talk about like this specific thing, and we can figure out like what's going on and how we can help you get to it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just gonna look because I know we are bumping up against time and see if there was any more questions that didn't get answered. What is the vacant lot? What if nope, cross the street, gone, Marcus, over. That's over. Can't be across the street from you anymore. Adjacent lot property, probably okay, that one, we got that. Businesses are good. Will there be reference to make sure that residents can afford housing that get built? I don't know about that, David. I'm not sure if the city can answer that question. Will it be efforts to make sure that residents can afford housing that get built? And if you don't know that answer, that's fine.
Yeah, so anything that is through the City Lots for Working Families program has to be affordable at a certain income level. And so that's just like the requirement, that's the law. And so it will be affordable in that way. We don't really know how much of that's actually going to get built, just we'll kind of see who applies and how much housing actually gets built. But yeah, that's definitely a goal, is to make sure that it's affordable for everyone.
I saw Brian hand up. Go ahead, Brian, and then Jackie after Brian.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I see a lot of gentrification comments and stuff in the chat. Just to be clear, Margaret, most of this stuff already exists, right? The affordable housing, the city lots program works. Market rate housing, residential developers can already purchase land from the city at market rate. Commercial developers can already purchase land at the city for market rate. So there's basically not a lot of changes here that I can see that are actually significant, other than it's like a tiny bit easier in terms of maybe timeline for developers. and then the 10% for adjacent neighbors, which is also like a time meter. So just to be clear, if I'm not mistaken, this is basically the status quo with minor adjustments. That's all I wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and an
thanks for
elimination.
raising that. Yeah.
Yeah, and an
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
elimination of a program that was designed for homeowners to get access to land for $1. So that's the part, and I'm just gonna share, because we had our own, like, we was really trying to understand this, Brian, so that we didn't say, wow, this is gentrification, like right here in front of us. So we just went, we know the data from large lot. And when we just said at a glance, the biggest difference is that is very clear is large lot was $1 for homeowners, $1 for developers through the Shy Block Builder. And then they could correct me if I'm wrong. There were no restrictions when we did the large lot program that residents could do stages, homes, sheds, a side lot. But with Shy Builders, there are restrictive uses. It was also any blocks, like you said, across the street markets, anywhere on the block, on the corner, whatever the case may be, and you could get up to 2. With Shy Block, it has to be next door, like ANLAP. So we're kind of going back to the ANLAP program. With the large lot program, it was all city-owned lots. It wasn't any environmental assessments. It wasn't any projects that they told us we couldn't do it because a project is coming. Now there are selected few for nonprofits and or developers who are building housing. And then homeowners could do whatever creative activities they wanted to do. Again, stages, event spaces. This way, the other one is more so like a side yard and like, an open space. And then again, the difference with the large lot is that it's $1 for homeowners through large lot, and it's now 10% of the market value. Margaret and or Candace, if it was something that is not clear here, because this is the way that we're gonna have to share this with others, please let me know so we can correct this.
Yeah, so I think I would say generally the aldermen were not supportive of the large lots program. I'm not making a comment on whether I am supportive of it or not, but I think that was kind of like our biggest barrier there, is that they did not really want to see dollar lots sold to neighbors at this stage. I think some did, some didn't, many didn't, and they were more comfortable with this 10% of market value. And so that's kind of like one of our biggest drivers there. I think they generally felt that it devalued the community land, because we know land is such an asset. And so they felt that it was being devalued. I'm just, sharing the perspective that we got. Again, not commenting on my personal feelings about it, but just wanted to share that. And then I think that generally this is an attempt to try to make it more transparent about the land in general. So I think to Brian's point, it's more like the status quo, but at least making the process more clear so people know what's going on. There's an interactive map, people can navigate, see what's available for sale, to make it more clear for people generally.
Very
good. And if I can jump in, I think folks are raising really important points, and these are some of the points that actually Aisha raised with us. I do want to say I don't think kind of all is lost, even though the program is going live on Thursday. I think there is still some opportunity to talk about what can be done. So Margaret, I don't know if you said this, and you tell me if this is still true. It is not first come, first serve though, right? It's not like a race through. If you get in your application first, then you get it. So there is some analysis of the applications that are coming in relative to the criteria that was laid out. So that's one. I do think there is some opportunities to talk about, and in some cases, communities have said, we're working through a plan right now, or we're trying to come up with a plan for this area. Can we actually talk a little bit more about what can be done here? So there are still those opportunities. So I don't want, and part of that, I think we are going to do some follow-up here based off of some of the concerns about, are there specific opportunities that we need to think about relative to some of the things that folks have said? So I did want to share that because that was the impetus for us coming, learning, and listening. It wasn't just to say thank you that fell on deaf ears going live on Thursday. There is a desire to want to talk through some specific issues and some specific needs that are needed for some of the things that are moving in Englewood. There also has been some socialization with other communities. And so in some cases, there have been similar conversations, and others not so much. I did want to add that.
I do want to give Jackie the opportunity. I know we're running a little bit over time, but Jackie, I know you had your hand up earlier. You went off mute, and then are you still here with us? I do want to make sure that your voice is heard. I might have missed you. And then if not, did I lose Jackie? Is it Cheryl? Go ahead, Cheryl.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Watson, and I just lost my question because it's moved up on the chat. Can you read it? Do you see it?
You had a question on the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see, Cheryl. Let me see if it is a lot of, I didn't even realize all this was going down in the chat.
Yeah, that's why I had raised my hand.
They say going down in the DM. Cheryl, how can community weigh in to not allow any more liquor stores, head shops, nail salons, and shell businesses that have overtaken some main commercial strips with businesses that are not with what the community want? Does the adjacent community get to vote? Yeah, Cheryl, I think some other people said that too. I mean, we're talking about a plan that we're hearing very clearly, and I said this to both, in all transparency, to both Candace and Margaret, that the aldermen are pushing. And so those businesses that are in our community has to also be approved by our aldermen, those licenses, those things. And so, you know, it's election time. And so if you've seen an influx of more liquor stores, if you see a plan like this being rolled out by a Black alderman in Englewood, I mean, it's just something for you to think about as you go to the polling place. As they said, we're going to have some continued conversation. My stance on this is that in all of this that was shared, the homeowners lose out. And in the fact that the homeowners, the legacy owners, the people that we know did a phenomenal job with large lot, who care about the land in their community, who don't want to be kicked out by developers, voices was not in this. And so I did invite them to say, at least let me have those folks' voice, because a lot of you are large lot owners. The majority of the people on this call said they will purchase land, but I think with the restrictions that's been laid out to us now, this is not our opportunity. Our opportunity has been taken away. This is not for us. How this roll out, who take advantage of us, who take advantage of this program, we will see. Basically, we got to become developers to get land for $1. So I already knew I was going to be on 10. I just wanted everybody to talk. So, and I understood, because I think the spirit in which we did large lot came from the people from this community. And it was very, very intentional that we knew we had a problem. And one solution was that homeowners take some ownership of this problem that the city also created. Because that's what we're not talking about. You're talking about the same city that also created this issue with redlining, contract buying, the Dan Ryan. And then they roll this out as if this is equity for a red line community. And I'm gonna say that red line communities need to be top priority in terms of how do we do equity and reparative actions. And I think Candace heard me before. We are working on a meeting. So I think this conversation is going to move on. I appreciate, Margaret, you're just doing your job. I get that. You know, you don't know, they got you doing this. That's cool. You're young, you don't know. But I know you don't feel good. I know you don't. I know you're not proud to roll this out. I know you're not. So I'll say that. I'll leave it there. And if anybody else have questions, please put your information if people want to chat. I'm gonna grab some large lot folks, some homeowners, some folks who are not willing to sell our community out to be in some of these discussions, and we'll keep going.
I don't know if anyone's hands up, but I'm in total agreement. I mean, these are things that happen, you don't go to the community to let them know that this initiative is actually happening. The next thing you know, it's in your community and, there's no pushback. There has to be pushback. There has to be. This is not something that we as an Englewood resident should be okay with. There is no equity here at all. None. And to roll this out and say, here it is, and it's Thursday, the day is Wednesday. I'm talking about Thursday of tomorrow, unacceptable.
So I think y'all, I know y'all got warned. Everybody told y'all how ready to get down. I know you was ready. You brought your people here to also be on the call that, kind of back you guys up. I think the discussion will continue. This is, it wasn't easy for us in DPD when we did this with large lot. It was a lot of back and forth. But they did listen. And I told Margaret, and I'm gonna say it again, the alderman was against it then. And DPD moved forward and said, this is an opportunity for homeowners to get a chance at the land within our community. Because we all know that alderman may not be there in February. And unfortunately, the alderman that was against the large lot, she passed away. And we don't know what can happen, what's the fate. But the people who live here, who have mortgages, we're here, we're permanent. We're not going anywhere. We're not elected to be in this community. We live here with no amenities, with no support, with no businesses, as the people said in the chat, little liquor stores to this. And for this to be what our city is rolling out to us is just very disheartening. And I'm glad this is recorded. I'm glad that folks will hear this because I think it's got a lot of work that the city is going to have to do to really get this right. This is for developers. You can roll this out for developers, but you need to really think about what is the program for homeowners. This is not it. This is not our program.
And unfortunately, I don't have my hand raised, but I totally agree. This is Ellen Singletary. I totally agree. We have taken care of these vacant lots to keep our community safe, and to roll out something like this and ignore those that have worked hard to maintain and build up their community with all the trash and drive-bys and everything else. This is not fair. And you read between the lines, it's redlining.
Yeah.
It's redlining us again.
Inequity for sale, isn't that a project? Inequity for sale? This is an equity for sale. It's literally for sale.
So if I could just say though, I said it before, but I do mean it. All is not lost. Yes, the program opens up. It will show where the land is. It will have the application. There is still an opportunity for us to talk about a specific strategy. I think what I think his name was Brian, what he said, I do want us, like a lot of this exists kind of at base. What this does, it does kind of make transparent what the avenues to buy land are at base right now. I think Aisha has really pushed, and all of you are pushing us to think about specifically what more can we be doing for homeowners? What more can we do for the folks in Englewood who have been stewarding the land, protecting the land? And I think that's a fair question. And so I really do want to leave this conversation saying that that is a fair question. That is a question that we should answer together. I think, being upset about things sometimes also can drive us to get to work in. So I both Margaret and I and so many others do come wanting to figure this out. And so I do want to leave with that sense that we do really want to talk partnership here. We really do want to talk about what more can be done. And that does require pushing, right? And I think so many folks have named very specific things. that I think there is real opportunity for us to think about what can we do on that. So I do want to leave the call in that. I appreciate Aisha. I knew this conversation was going to be hard. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty. Like, I don't think we get to equity by always being sweet. Sometimes we got to have some real conversations. So I really do want to thank all of you. And I look forward to moving this conversation forward.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you both coming, staying over. We went overtime. I'm pretty sure the folks in Rage do not mind. When it comes to our community, they are very steadfast and adore this community. And our members are multifaceted. They're homeowners, they're residents, and they have a voice. And we understand that our voices will be muted, especially right now in this day and time. But we're not going nowhere. And I think for most of us, we going, just like I said with Whole Foods, it's not, we have way more bigger fish to fry than what's happening. The Save a Lot is coming. I think our land has something to do with our legacy, our generation. This is very, very personal. So, you know, I appreciate you. I knew I was going to be emotional. I was emotional when I got on the call with y'all, and still very much so. So I appreciate it. I know we had some other guest speakers here. We might have to bring them back on, or at least share the information with them. But I did want to leave at least on a high note with a couple of just closing announcements, because we are over. And again, I do appreciate both Margaret and also Candace for listening and really hopefully taking notes so that we can figure out how to move forward. Just a real quick thing, join Rage. This is who we are. As you can see, we are very different. We come from this community. We live in this community. So if you have not joined and you want to be a part of this movement and part of some of these conversations, please consider joining Rage tonight. We're gonna celebrate regardless. We love our people. We love connecting, building, and taking action. So save the date for 12/22/22 at Tanya Lee's spot. I see Tanya on the call, and hopefully I see you over there. And then few activities, as you know, with Englewood, it's always going to be some turkey giveaways and some Thanksgiving things. There's actually one going on right now today at Ogden Park. Some of our members will be helping out at the 3rd annual holiday bazaar on Saturday. There's also a few other Thanksgiving dinners. We will share these things as a recap. Just a couple other things that are happening around the community. Reimagine with the chamber. Definitely go and check that out, happening on November 26th. A toy drive with our 7th district. There's also, you know, some resources with the Illinois Housing Development Authority, helping homeowners with some assistance if they fell behind. Again, if you are looking to purchase a house or you're right in that process, ready to go and got a contract on something, apply for that. And if it's in this MMRP area, apply for that down payment so we can, hopefully you can get some of the money that's available. Our members have been out, as well as our collective partners, getting petitions. We have over, I want to say over 500 petitions signed. We appreciate everyone who has went out, helped us out, spread the word around getting 63rd and Racine Green Line open. We do have an electronic one, but we're actually trying to get a referendum on the ballot for February. So if you are in the 16th Ward, a registered voter, and would like to sign and or circulate petitions, please contact our membership liaison, Samaya Butler. And let's see, Voices from the Village, and we'll make this quick. We'll go, if anybody have voices that they want to share, things they got coming up, thoughts that's on their mind, even basically after this conversation, or if you just want to breathe, you know, for everybody, you could do that too. I'll give an opportunity for folks to chime in. You can raise your hand. If anybody have voices they want to share, thoughts, how they feeling, anything. Announcements, events, celebrations. Okay. Yes, Catherine, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. And it's not Catherine, you're Kevin, right? Okay, you just got Catherine on there. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes,
That's correct.
please.
Hopefully I have audio now.
Yes, you do.
Okay, great. Hey, everyone. First of all, I'm with CompuDoc, and I want to thank you all for inviting us to be a participant with you this evening. You had some really great conversations. For those of you that are not familiar with CompuDoc, what we are is a computer refurbisher. And we obtained devices from various businesses and other organizations. We refurbish them and we get them right back out into the communities that they can do some good. Our target audiences are the folks that are pretty much ones that that have kids in the school systems that receive free or reduced lunches. So we do what we can to help bridge the digital divide that is so prevalent in our society at this point. So we have been doing some work with the Something Good in Englewood community organization. We've had a 3-year relationship with them, and that's an ongoing relationship that we have. So we are doing things in Englewood as well as other communities throughout the greater Chicagoland area. And so again, just want to thank you all for allowing us to be here, to just be a voice and a set of ears to hear about everything that's going on.
Thank you, Kevin. And sorry we had technical issues and also ran over. I know we had you as a guest speaker, but definitely want to connect any resources and opportunities for the residents here. Please send them our way. We will share the information in terms of how folks can get registered and go from there. Thank you again. Antoine.
You bet. Thank you.
Go ahead, Antoine.
Just interested. Hello. Just interested in knowing, how does the Shy Builder project affect the Englewood Trail?
I don't know if Margaret is still there. I know she's I don't think it affects the Englewood Trail. I think what I heard her say in her presentation, Margaret, are you still there? That the land by the Englewood Trail would not be available for sale. I know she said that early in the presentation. If you are a homeowner, you live by the trail, you cannot purchase land adjacent to you.
Wow.
Any other voices from the village? All right, thank y'all for holding on, hanging in there with us. This has definitely been, we knew that it will be a very interesting meeting. Anytime we talk about land and Englewood in the same census, it's always going to be spicy. Our next meeting will be January 17th. We are working on being in person because we would love to be around each other again. And if you have questions, want to reach out, want to talk further, want to be involved in these discussions, definitely hit us up either at joinrage@gmail.com or even my own personal email if you want to discuss further. I'm going to put it in the chat. And I appreciate it. Any other voices from the village? I just want to say going once, going twice.
I just want to say I put up some information. We're having a baby drive. It's in the chat. If you want to donate diapers, wipes, lotion, whatever you want to donate to our pregnant moms, we're having a baby drive from now until December 16th. I put the address in the chat. It's 839 West 79th Street. The phone number is there for you to call. We want to take all these items and bag them up, and we're going to give them out during Kwanzaa. So,
nice.
Get your baby items ready.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mekizan. Thank you for being here as well. That is all that I have. Thank you all for staying with us, listening. There is a 20th Ward meeting that will talk about the same thing in terms of the land sales. If anybody lives in the 20th Ward, that's happening on Thursday, and we will just keep folks informed until our holiday party. Hope to see you all very soon. We'll be around in the community, and thank you so much for attending. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Peace and love, everybody. Go do your thing. Good to see you, Asia.
Always a pleasure. I am still here. I know I'll be on.
I love the sound of your voice and the ferocity of your leadership. You keep leading and speaking truth. We are hearing you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm a lot of truth sometimes be by itself. So it's a little lonely island on the truth island. So
I got you though.
So at least I know y'all here.
You're not alone, baby girl. You just keep leading. You out here. I see you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody coming tonight. I look forward to us celebrating in December too.
All right.
Talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.